Hello, interwebs. 'Tis I, Sebastian Piccione, and this is F3G2, coming to you live from the back of Famous Faces and Funnies. And you could be watching this on the tube of you, or you could be watching this on GonnaGeek.com. We're easy, like a drunk prom date. Now, we got a stack that's actually relatively small. Normally, when the stack gets smaller, for some reason, I compensate by talking more, and those end up being the longer shows.
Don't do that.
We're gonna try and see if we can keep me in check. But the check bounced, so who knows? My mouth's writing checks. My internet account can't cash.
I make no promises, internet.
Superior Spider-Man number 31, Kevin McGuire. Look, they pulled one for me. I've been reading these, but I hadn't been buying them. I was thinking of getting all the trades, but I wasn't sure yet. But then they called in Kevin McGuire. Now I own a damn copy. Because that's all you need to know. But it's good. It ends. Thus endeth the Superior Spider-Man with the return of the Amazing Spider-Man. Or in this case, he's mostly the Amazed Spider-Man, because he's amazed by what the fuck's been going on. Because in the process of getting, when Doc Ock swapped it up so that Peter could come back, Peter's missing. He got his memories back, but he's missing everything that's happened since Doc took over. So, suffice it to say, there have been a lot of surprises, especially towards the end when a certain diminutive girlfriend of Doc Ock is talking about how glad she is to find out that Peter Parker is alive, because she can't even imagine life without him. And Peter's like,
What?
oh boy. And then he even feels sad because he realizes that that someone actually loved Otto, and Otto, est no more. So it's some powerful stuff.
People who want to beat him.
I'm saying we get to see the face behind the mask, and the face is not the face of Norman Osborn, and yet it is the face of Norman Osborn. How? Well, you'll have to read it to figure out what the complication is. Speaking of crazy Norman Osborns, little Normie Osborn, something seriously wrong with that kid. Normie Osborn, who's looking like somewhere in the 8 to 10 age in this, he is, I think he just became the Joffrey Lannister Baratheon of the Marvel Universe. I think he just became the most evil little shit in the entire MU. Yeah, a game of spiders. This sets up a lot of stuff. This wraps up a lot of stuff. I think it's really, really well done. I'd read some reviews today where people were saying how they felt it was too breezy or too glossed through, or but really, I think that's not that. It really wasn't. It's just that at this point, there have been so many expectations on it that no matter how it was handled, it would have seemed it wasn't going to live up to whatever people were expecting in their heads. And it was really good. There were some great moments, some really great. This isn't the kind of thing Peter's going to be able to amend. For Spider-Man, it'll be an easy fix. Spider-Man can tell people, yeah, Doc Ock took over my brain. That wasn't me. I'm back. And most of the people in Spider-Man circles are going to accept that. Peter Parker can't go telling people, oh yeah, everything Peter Parker did recently wasn't me. I was Doc Ock. Because that doesn't work so much. You can't go tell Aunt May that. You could back before Brand New Day, but you can't now. You can't go explaining that to J. Jonah Jameson. You can't go explaining that to what the heck is it Anna Marie? Is that what's the Anna Maria Marconi? You can't go explaining that to Doc Ock, Peter's Peter's girlfriend. Oh, sorry, you weren't dating me. I was possessed. It doesn't work. So this is really, really well done. Brought it to a nice end. And I'm officially on board for Amazing Spider-Man. Batman Eternal number 2 is good. We knew that it wasn't going to be as clear-cut. Clearly, James Gordon is not as responsible for this tragic accident that caused countless deaths that he thinks he is. We knew that, but we weren't sure who was going to be behind it. I was surprised. Well, actually, about halfway through, I suspected who it was going to be, but up till through the first issue and halfway through this person was not on my radar, much less my list of possible suspects. It is not Kaiser Soze because he is not one of the usual suspects, but is perfectly believable, plausible, well immersed in Bat mythos, bad guy of the past. So that was good. Art's good, story's good. Having had the teaser where we know where things are going to go from this, it's interesting because we know where some of this is going to go, like how Catwoman's going to become like a major, crime kingpin, and how what the heck's her name is going to become Bluebell. That Harper Row is going to become like Bluebell and all this stuff. So it was neat to see. Tim Drake has already started stepping in, so I'm happy to have Tim Drake back in the Batverse. It's good. It's some solid Bat stuff. Justice League number 29 lets me know that even though every time Jeff Johns steps out of the Justice League box at the moment, because he's a busy boy doing all the head up stuff that he does and all that, but every time he steps out of the Justice League box, he does he writes like 2 issues of something, co-writes an issue, and then is gone. And from issue 4 on, it's Sterling Gates or it's this, that, or the other thing. I don't care. We need a Jeff Johns kickstarted, not the site kickstarted, but a Jeff Johns launched Metal Man series, because this issue is so good, and it's the Metal Men that have, I said this with their last issue, the Metal Men have more heart, soul, and personality, likable personality, than 85% of the new 52. All right, they're just awesome. And the Metal Men, unlike so many of the new 52, are easier to tweak. They literally, the responsometers, it's easy to find. They always say, we're trying to find the core of the character, or we're going to stay true to the core. Their core is a responsometer. We actually have a physical core. You can tweak the metal and have them look slightly different or whatever, but you have their actual core, and it really, really works really well. Batman number 30 has a cool kind of shiny cover, but it's still just the regular $3.99, which is nice, because Bat books have been ass expensive most of the time lately. Just because. Capullo is never allowed to leave this book. Alright, hopefully neither was Scott Snyder, but Capullo is never allowed to leave this book because
bind their souls to it.
Yeah, because every little, just look at that page. Just Bruce in a hoodie. Look at those eyes. There's so much there, and there's just so much there. It's so subtle and simple, yet
Powerful.
Yeah, it's like looking at the surface of a lake and going, "Wow, look at this! Look at the surface. It's really nice," but able to see underneath it to know that there's so much going on under there. That's what this art is like. It's just gorgeous. Story-wise, this is we're in the final arc, the final act here. Baby Bat Bruce has been kicked in the teeth, and he's getting his second wind. He had his moment of doubt. It's actually weird because he's less obsessive in this, and you wonder how he got worse as he became Batman and just kind of fell into the Bat groove. It's a Bat Tusi. I was dancing to the Bat groove, but he falls into a Bat groove eventually and just becomes completely obsessed with it. But this is a much more relaxed kind of almost. I know what I need to do. I got to go do it. So he's an easier to get along with Batman. Ms. Marvel is good, but not great. I really love the art.
Sounds like it's losing you a little bit.
It may be shaking me a little bit. There's not enough happening. It really is more, and this isn't a bad thing, it's just not a me thing. How am I trying to phrase this? So far, it isn't a Miss Marvel book. It's a, what the heck is her name? Kamala Khan book. It has some incidental Ms. Marvel moments, and I get the slow burn, and I'm good with that. And I really like the style of this art. There's almost something, especially with the facial expressions and the backgrounds and the various other characters. There's something very Sim and Gerhard from Cerberus, the Aardvark, Cerebus, the Aardvark. It's very, it's got a very Cerebus, the Aardvark look, feel to it. Apparently I can't speak today. I spent 6 hours with only 2 different classes because of FCAT testing, so yeah, I spent 3 hours with my juniors and seniors, so you can shoot me in the face, and I will thank you for it. Actually, I won't, because if I'm able to thank you, that means you didn't kill me, so what good did you do? What good did you do? But yeah, it's also, someone had pointed out, I'm less bothered with this, at this point she hasn't mastered her shapeshift abilities, so when she turns into the Ms. Marvel that she becomes, she actually looks like Carol Danvers. And someone was saying that they were upset that you have this, like on the cover, this is what I'm waiting for, right? But at the moment, you have this very, very Middle Eastern Muslim girl character who turns into a blonde-haired, blue-eyed superheroine. And it just seems like, somebody said that to them it felt like, like that was, selling it short of saying, hey, look, we're giving you this Muslim character, but then she turns into, like, this non-Muslim looking super, Ms. Marvel. But I get where they're going with it. It's just taking its time, and it dwells more with her and her family and the whole, the religion, old world values versus someone living today in Jersey and all of that. And these are all the reasons I stopped discussing religion with my own family. I don't know why I want to keep reading about someone who has still these same things that I just got, I'm done going on with their family. I'm like, look, I don't talk to my family about this crap anymore for these exact reasons. My suggestion is when you stop being a teenager, move out and then become a superhero. So, I don't know. I like the potential. I just wanted to move along a little faster and get there. Sinestro #1. Beware his power. It's Cullen Bunn. Alright, so you already know I like it. It's Dale Eaglesham, so you already know it's gorgeous. Cullen Bunn's been, killing it with the 2 issues of Magneto. Now he's killing it with 1 issue of Sinestro. It's really good. We've got Sinestro trying to refine his place in the world. And he has to refine his fear. At this point, his ring isn't working because he has no fear. Apparently, the way the ring works, as Cullen Bunn is defining it, is you have to have fear and then be able to control it, and you're basically controlling your own fear, and that's what you're doing with it. He's not afraid of anything anymore. So he's like, look, I don't care if I die. My world is dead. I failed everything. There's nothing left for me to fear. Kurragar's dead, so what do I have left? And then Lyssa Dark, or whatever the hell her name is.
Drac.
Lyssa Dark, yeah. It's like a slight, I see what they did there. But Lyssa Dark, the lore keeper, who is the book of Parallax, because she's got it like tattooed all over her and whatever. But she shows up and is like helps him find his calling and tells him basically exactly what he needs to know. when you took over Korugar, a handful of your people left. They left the planet. They snuck out, and they've been in hiding. So you don't have a lot of people left, but they're out there. And he's like, they left because of me, and their situation is they left because of my. They put themselves in danger because of my actions, and now they are in further danger because of my inactions. I need to fix this. Because Sinestro is one of those characters who, like Magneto, I mean, this is what makes it so perfect that Colin Bunn is writing both of these books, is he's one of those characters who he is a bad guy, but he's he's one of those do the right thing for the wrong reasons and occasionally do the wrong thing for the right reasons. Or actually reverse that. He's
bad, he's not evil.
Do the wrong thing for the right reasons and do the right thing for the wrong reasons occasionally, kind of character. And you get to see that. It's already off to a good start. I'm in. I'm hooked. This was awesome. Amazing X-Men #6, Family Feud. Look, it's mommy and son. You get a reunion. It's a big party, a welcome back Kurt party at the Jean Grey School. Even, Cyclops team shows up. There's a great panel. Where is it? Where is it? The panel of awesomeness. There's a panel of... there we go. This one little panel. It's Nightcrawler with Captain Britain and Megan and Rachel Grey. The only one missing is Kitty, but she shows up later. It's the Excalibur reunion. All right, you just needed Widget, and it would have been perfect. So it's good. The art in here is by Jason Aaron wrote it, and Cameron Stewart did some great. The art is very clean, kind of cartoony, but there's feels. He does great stuff, especially with Mystique's eyes. There's a lot of emotion and hesitance and kind of conflict going on with Mystique because her son's her enemy, but her son is back. So this is her enemy, but at the same time this is her son and he's back from the dead, so she's conflicted there. Also, Azazel is back in the world, and she's like, you saw your father. Where is it? She kind of wants to kill Azazel, but she kind of has feelings for Azazel, and she's a villain, and villains like to work together. She's got agendas against the X-Men. That's how I say X-Men. So she's got an agenda against the X-Men, and she's, do I recruit him? Do I kill him? Do I ignore him? Do I, what do I do? So it's really great. Even if you haven't read anything up till now, this is all you need. This is like a great introduction, jump on point. So, oh yeah. Hulk #1 was good. I'm curious where they go with this. It's Mark Waid, so there's not a lot of fault I'm going to find with it. It's Mark Bagley. He gets to draw. Once again, we've got a bald Hulk, but this time because the back of his head is missing. Because Banner got shot and they were doing some surgery. When there's a nice little flashback story, the doctor operating knows Banner, and the nurse was saved by the Hulk as a kid. So they've got their own kind of agendas. Meanwhile, they're brought in by who they think is S.H.I.E.L.D., but it turns out, I know if you watch movies or TV shows, you'd be shocked to realize this, but apparently people can infiltrate S.H.I.E.L.D. and use it to their own agenda, including that agenda being of a great way to, every time you try to kill the Hulk, if you try and kill the Hulk as Banner when he's weaker, the act of trying to kill him always makes him pissed and turns him into the Hulk and ruins the assassination attempt. They find the perfect way to not kill him, but to incapacitate him, because they want some Banner DNA, some Hulk blood. They clearly have an agenda, but it's of no use to them trying to take dead samples, so they need to keep Banner alive, and it's kind of tricky. Banner does have a major status quo change that they say is irreversible, but it's a comic book. Peter Parker was just dead, and they told us that was irreversible. So I don't see it being too permanent. But let's just say right now, let's just say that whole battle that's been going on lately between Bruce Banner and Tony Stark over who's the smartest guy in the DCU, Tony doesn't have a lot to worry about right now.
Not DC.
I mean, in the Marvel U, yeah. Tony doesn't have a lot to worry about right now. Their Banner's not going to quite be bringing his A game. He's going to be bringing his ABC game. The Hunt for Robin, Batman and Wonder Woman, they go to... This actually takes place right perfectly at the same time with this, because you get a lot of the same, they're on, both of these take place on the Mascara. And am I the only one who thinks it's some subliminally sexist thing to make the island full of the most powerful race of immortal warrior women and name it the Mascara? Am I the only one who thinks that every time they say the Mascara? Probably. I don't think like other people's. But the Amazons have been turned to snakes, but now they've just been released. So you get a touching little Wonder Woman and the statue that used to be her mom reunion. You get Wonder Woman stepping up to the people who are not thrilled to have Batman, because not the bat part, but the man part offends them to have on the island. And you got Roz, and you've got some Greek mythology meets a twist on a Lazarus pit, and yeah, and at this point, it's not so much Batman trying to... It was for a while Batman trying to find an alternative way to... I gotta be able to save my son and bring him back. But now it's really more he wants to put his son to rest and get him out of the clutches of Roz, who clearly wants to bring him back for his own nefarious Algulian purposes. Not Algulian porpoises. Those are immortal dolphins with a little white streak. So Wonder Woman number 30, again on Themyscira, again people less than thrilled. The Amazons are less than thrilled with Wonder Woman's rule thus far, and are starting to see some holes in it. Meanwhile, Hera is a bitch, and what else? The firstborn is an evil but extremely powerful son of a bitch, and things don't go well for Hades, who's going by hell at the moment. But it's really good. I know that there are some diehard Wonder Woman fans who've been completely hating this. I like Wonder Woman. I read like the George Perez run and the Phil Jimenez runs. I loved that era. I like this. I also like mythology, and I like what they've done with this. And I like Wonder Woman in here better than I do in like Justice League. I like her in Superman, Wonder Woman, and in this. So that's good. Supergirl number 30. Tony Bedard writing a good story with Red Lantern Wonder Woman, Red Lantern Supergirl. You've got all the Red Lanterns in here, so you get some Guy Gardner moments, you get some Zilius Zox moments, and Skalax, and really at this point, I think Skalax and Zilius Zox are like the Booster and Beetle of the Red Lanterns. They're very serious, but we don't have to take them quite so seriously. And they just have this great rapport. And I really like when you add in the third stooge of Guy Gardner to that mix. But they're also great with Supergirl, where they're half fascinated by her and half, annoyed by her. Almost like, and Guy Gardner calls them out on it, it's almost like a crush. And we've got Blaze, the new 52 version of Blaze, who speaks rather simply, but is interesting and creepy. I like where they're going with her. So, Supergirl number 30, all in all, quite good. Harley Quinn number 5 is good. I love Jimmy Palmiotti. I love Amanda Carter, and Chad Harden's art is just gorgeous. There's really not much to say. That this is fun. It's not the old Harley Quinn. It's not even necessarily the full-on new 52 Harley Quinn. It's very much Jimmy and Amanda's Harley Quinn, and that's fine with me. When the fanboy part of my brain starts thinking, but if what's going on in the Suicide Squad, how is it? I just dial that down and enjoy. I'm like the Stepford comic fan. Uncanny X-Men. Ooh. Somebody better help Dazzler at some point. That girl gets no respect, and Dazzler was always one of my favorites. Hell, Aaron named his daughter after her. Aaron from A Comic Shop named his daughter after character. If character gets somebody to name their kid after them, the character deserves more respect than being comatose and milked for her mutant growth hormone that Blob is addicted to, which is funny to me. Shield wants to be, Maria Hill wants to be 10 steps ahead of Cyclops, but it's great. He uses the Stepford Cuckoos, kind of steps in to her head and is just saying, right after she announces, I want to be 10 steps ahead of him, and there's Cyclops go. So how's that working out for you? Being ahead of me and all. And she's like, what? And then the Stepfords just rape her mind for information and embarrass her because apparently she's crushing on Cyclops. It's good. I keep saying it. I'm loving Bendis on X-Men. I say it every time. It's the exact opposite of what I felt about Bendis' run on Avengers. Stuff happens, even when it's a lot of talking, because it's still a Bendis book. There's a lot of dialogue, and there's a lot of exposition, and set up kind of stuff. But it still moves at a pace that it doesn't feel like exposition-y setup kind of stuff. You know, a lot of this is people questioning each other. A lot of this issue. But it doesn't feel like that. It's still exciting. Wolverine and the X-Men, which was my favorite book under Jason Aaron, is not quite my favorite book under Jason Latour, is good. It's got Muhammad Asrar's artwork, and it's just gorgeous stuff. It's focusing on Quentin Quire, who's one of my favorite characters from the last arc. I mean, I didn't care about him before, but then from the last series of this title, Wolverine and the X-Men, I bought into Quentin Quire. This issue I was happier with than number 1 and 2, because this issue he seemed to be more Quentin Quire. The last couple, I've been like, really? You just made me like this character. Why are you going to do an about face and just fuck him up? And they may still, but for this issue, he was mostly the Quentin Quire I've known enough. Solar Man of the Atom. Number 1 from Dynamite. Dynamite's Gold Key stuff has been great. I feel exactly about this like I do about the Valiant run. Nothing has been bad so far. Which is ironic, because once upon a time these guys were Valiant, were in part of the Valiant universe. So they're separate but equal at the moment, because they're just good. They're just really good. I now see where they promised us, the solicits teased that we were going to meet, the woman of the Atom. Who the heck is she? Well, I know now, because I see it happen. And I like this twist. We jump right in, not really an origin yet. We jump in, and the Man of the Atom is already acting. He hasn't used Solar yet. He just calls himself the Man of the Atom. But he's already acting. He's out there superheroing or whatever. But he starts losing control of the equations. He basically sees equations, and that's what he does. He's like a firestorm, a one-man firestorm that sees the equations and is able to change, transmute on so much a higher level than Firestorm does. But he starts losing the control, and things are just changing all around him, and he's not sure what to do. And that's when the doctor that he works with goes and pulls in some family members as a kind of, hey, what's going on? And it's good, and it's, like I said, they skipped the, we'll get to an origin. This one jumps in. Oh, by the way, you're in the middle of a roller coaster ride and we're about to do a loop. What? Yeah! And and it starts there instead of having to go through the winding line for an hour and a half to get onto the roller coaster. You just, and whoa, you're already there. So that's pretty good. Badass, number 4 from Dynamite, is one of my favorite comics out right now. This book, Eric Hanna and Bruno Basati. Hanna does the art. Basati does the art. Hanna does the story. This is great. This is a super assassin who is this picked on little dork. as a high school kid, you kind of have these flashbacks, but you know, they keep asking him about what his powers are, and he keeps saying he doesn't have any powers. His power is that he is just lucky, the kind of lucky that makes Longshot look like
An amateur.
I was gonna say look like Woozy Winks from freaking Plastic Man, you know, the curse on, and he is just this. He goes from this geeky little thing to this, you know, hunky, you know, this kind of sexy psychopath with like this, you know, somebody tried to kill him, and ever since then he's just been lucky, and to the point where, you know, a Justice League-esque team comes after him in this, only to get hit with you know, a meteor shower that just starts taking them out, and he just grabs his little friend and goes, "Stand close to me," you know, and he doesn't really have to do anything. You know, he's fighting a guy, and the guy goes through, you know, a window, and a sheet of glass takes the top of his head off. He didn't technically kill the guy, but his luck got the guy decapitated, partially decapitated to keep him. It's so funny, so good, and the art is so gorgeous. It's just really good. Warlord of Mars number 100 with the Linsner cover. I like the Linsner cover because, well, aside from the fact that Linsner can do some gorgeous artwork, Linsner is one of the only. Linsner is the kind of comic book artist. There's not many of them who can draw female breasts that look natural and, like, you know, they exist within the laws of physics, the human anatomy, and gravity. As opposed to, like, there's some interior shots where she has cleavage despite there's no reason for her to have cleavage when she walks around essentially topless in gold pasties. There's no reason for cleavage there. And yet they draw, and sometimes they draw, like, you know, like they're pressed together. I'm like, what is doing that? What is the environment? What is the gravity, you know, situation on Mars? But aside from Deja's Barsooms, see what I did there? Really, what makes this a great issue is the main theme in. There's a bunch of stories in here, but the main theme in all of them is Woola. All right, it's all Woola. You get a little origin. You get a Woola puppy. That Deja meets before Woola teams up with John before John Carter even comes to Mars. And then all of the stories are just, you know, they're just Woola-centric. And even when I read the books, like, forever ago, when I was in, like, you know, junior high, and when I've reread them now, and in the movie, and whatever, Woola's always my favorite part of the John Carter mythos. I want a cowlet. I don't know what to tell you. $6 Million Man, season 6 is exactly what it sounds like. It's $6 Million Man, season 6. It picks up where the show left off. I really like the first one. The second one, it's still good, but it didn't grip me as much. But then again, to be honest, I was a kid when the show was on, and it wasn't a show I watched regularly. It was a show I watched when I caught it. You know, there were no DVRs, and VCRs were giant clunky things back then. So, you know, whatever. But, you know, so it's clearly on a par with the show because it holds me as much as the show did. The Shadow, number 24, they've introduced zombies into the Shadow, and it just, I don't know, for a guy who holds sway over the minds of men, having mindless zombies seems unnecessary. Captain Action Cat, which features both a Captain Action Cat version and Action Cat and Adventure Bug from Franco and Baltazar's Oh Yeah comics. So it's just great. They're just messing with the time stream and trying to pull out the ultimate evil from the Golden Age, and then all just kind of meeting the Golden Age versions and the Silver Age, and, you know, and it's fun. And then to wrap it all up, Adventures of Superman Volume 1 is great. I loved these as individual issues. I'm so happy to have this now. This is exactly what the back cover says. Timeless Tales of the Man of Steel. It's Superman the way I want him to be. These are some of the best Superman stories I've read. And, you know, he's in the right costume. You know, you've got... Oh, just look at these. It's been a while since I read some of these, because the comic sells out, so I don't always get to borrow a copy to read, but I knew I was going to get this in trade, because I wanted it in trade after reading the first two. So, it's gorgeous. It's Superman the way he's supposed to be. It's any particular continuity, so it's not like there's any connect or disconnect or whatever. It's just Superman stories, because let's face it, somebody at DC was smart enough to know, yeah, okay, we can stick to our guns and do this new 52 thing, but this is what the world thinks Superman looks like. This is Superman. We can still do Superman stories that we can't do in the new 52 because we erased most of history, undid half of history, warped the remaining parts of history, and then haven't reintroduced other elements of history. Here it's all there. They can take from anywhere and anything. They could do, you know, and if you can think of it to be done with Superman, they can, and they do it, and it's just gorgeous. And really, everybody who's worked on it has knocked it out of the park. So, hopefully that wasn't terribly long. I bid thee adieu.